Before I get to the Old City, I want to give you some facts on Israel. Israel is a country that's 75 years old. However, it has been around a lot longer. This region used to be known as Palestine, and it was over 4,000 years old. But as a country of Israel, it is only 75 years old. It is also the crossroads of three major religions in the world: Christianity, Judaism, and Muslim. And if you've been following any sort of world news, you know that this area has been fought over for years, thousands and thousands of years. For Jews, it is a sacred space because this is where the original Temple of Solomon was built. For the Christians, this is the area that Jesus was crucified as well as he rose. And for Muslims, this is where Muhammad went to heaven. In the Old City, there are 4 sections. There is the Jewish section, the Armenian section, the Christian section, which is the Holy Sepulchre is there, and the Muslim section, which is the temple. The temple is there. When I first went into the Old City, the first thing the tour guide told us was, as you see, there's an Armenian section. So the reason there is an Armenian section is because Armenia as a country was the first to embrace Christianity as a religion for the entire country. So that is why there is an Armenian section. So it's like Armenian Christian is kind of all a Christian section. Before Jerusalem was Jerusalem and owned by and ruled by Israel, it was conquered by the Romans, by Christian Crusaders, and by Muslims. And when you're in the Old City, you can actually see that there are Roman ruins. If you were to dig up the city, you would see cities on top of cities on top of cities, because back in the day they didn't have bulldozers. So what they did is they just filled it in with dirt, and then they built, or dirt, cement, anything that would get rid of the old city, and they would build their new city on top of whoever they just conquered. So that's why I like the Roman ruins, then there's the Christian Crusade ruins, and then there's like Muslim ruins, and now it is what it is now, but they're not digging because there's too many holy sites here. So this is basically why you see what you see, and sometimes you might not see other ruins because they're buried underneath. But I'm going to show you a building where you can see where the Crusades built and the Romans built, and you can see the different in architecture and the different structures. But when the Romans came, they destroyed everything and they built theirs on top of it. So it's like 3 different layers in one. The population of Israel is around 9 million, estimated 9 million people, with a 73% being Jewish and 21% being Muslim. It has been called the most advanced country in Western Asia. I always thought this was the Middle East, but Google said Western Asia. But anyways, it's one of the most advanced cultures that is now here, the most advanced countries that is now here in this area. Now we go to the Old City, and I will try to explain to the best of my ability, because I didn't write anything else down, what some of the buildings and structures are. Okay, so we are going to enter into the Old City by Jaffa, the Jaffa Gate, which is the main gate. If you're coming here as a tourist, you're probably going to enter through this gate, because it's like where the Jerusalem sign is, and you can just walk right in. You're probably looking at this and you're like, well, Sarah, the cars can go through, and did they get rid of the gate? What happened? So this is the gate for cars, and it used to be a moat. So this used to be all water, and then a famous person came to visit, I don't know when, and the king or somebody wanted the entrance for cars. He wanted the dignitary, or whoever this high power person was, to have an entrance to go through the gate with a car to get to where he was going. So they filled in this part of the moat, and it stayed filled in ever since. And so now, so it used to be a moat in water where you could not cross, and the gate, we're gonna go through the real gate on the other side, and you'll see the big door. But yeah, so they just kept it sealed in, so now it's a walkway for cars. There are not a lot of cars in the Old City, but it's enough for people to get through, and there's hotels and stuff, and people actually live in the Old City. So yeah, it's like a high honor for, if you're Jewish, to live in the Old City, especially the Jewish quarter. It's like the Mecca of living. So let's walk through the old real Jaffa gate. You can see out here is the modern city, right? So now we go to the old city.
My group, please come out.
If we were back in the day, that is the gate we would have came through. We would have had to have it open for us, and then we would have had permission to enter. And where you see these cars are would have been all water and sealed off, and that would not be a way that you can go. So technically, we're entering into, I believe this is the Armenian quarter. If it's not, we're going to go there very momentarily. If you make a left here, you'll go into the Christian quarter, and you see the Church of the Scepter. Walked over water, see? And this area here is, you can see where the conquistadors built differently, and then the Romans came and destroyed it, and then the Roman built their top, but this all still exists, and you can see below is where part of the moat was as well, so you'll see here. And you see the different architecture here. It goes up to here, and then it changes. It's better, you can better see it here. This quarter right here, we're in the Christian quarter, and I'm sitting right in front of the Tower of David. But now it's been turned into a museum, but it used to be the Tower of David. So as soon as you walked in through the gates, you saw the tower, and you entered into the Christian quarter. Well, now it is the Christian quarter. So you know you're in the Christian area because this is the Christian Information Center. But we're gonna go walking and take you to the Armenian quarter. While you're in here, you can see like the different mix of people. You can see the Muslims, the Jews, and then people like me, like tourists. Everywhere will also have everything in 3 languages: Arabic, Hebrew, and English. So that's also a tell. You can tell who the 3 predominant religions were and what they speak. And also, one of the guys at my hostel told me if you eat in the old city, most of us are thinking, I thought, oh, it's probably more expensive to eat here. It's actually cheaper to eat in the old city than it is in the outside the walls, which is interesting. The coffee here is cheaper than outside the walls as well. If you're wondering if there's ATMs, yes, there are ATMs everywhere, but everywhere takes your credit card. You just tap and go. Okay, technically I have entered the Armenian quarter because there is the Armenian church right here. Excuse me. This is the Zion Gate. It's the first time I've been here, so I will read you. Built in the time of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent in 16th century in Arabic. Baba al-Nabi Daud, due to its proximity to King David's tomb. So this is Zion's Gate. Now we are outside of the city again, the old city again, but we're gonna walk back through because I'm gonna go finish walking around. This is so cool. I love, like, I don't know, I love all walled cities. I think they're so cool because look at this. I mean, how long it's been standing? Centuries and centuries, and it still looks amazing. And we're back in the old city. I think it's so cool. This part of the old city is, I'm gonna tell you, is way quieter than the other parts. The other parts are insane, but you can buy stuff. We're gonna walk over there. We're gonna see if we get harassed because everyone wants you to go into their shop. That's a really annoying part about being here.
But I would say their faith is very strong.
I think this is one of the only parts, I think, because I'm kind of walking the wall around the city, so I think this is the only part that actually has a road. So I don't think, because inside, once we go inside more, it's like not like this. There's hardly any cars. There's cars to like deliver things to people, but not a lot. And then over there you can see is Mount Olive. Okay, you can't really see it. I'll film it when I go over there. But that is where the highest honor to be buried as a Jew, because the Jews believe that when Jesus comes back, they will be resurrected first, those who are buried on Mount Olives. Of course, a parking lot. You have to have those everywhere, even in the old city of Jerusalem. Basically now I have entered into the walled city inside that is not on the outside of the roads, and you can see how narrow the walkways are, but people do still ride like their motorbikes and stuff to get to the houses, because like I said, people actually live here. You can see all these little houses and restaurants, and there's a place for sale up here. And now we've entered into the Jewish quarter. This is the Cardo. It is the remains of a road of Roman time from the Roman Byzantine period. Served, so it's like the main road, which was, this is part of it. And you can tell it's from Roman Empire. Again, look at how structured it is. And I'll go down there and we'll show you the architecture.
הישיבה שהקים הרב קוק חוצה בירושלים לא כזרז,
The sign just says that a lot of Roman cities had a Cardo, a grand main thoroughfare flanked by two roads. Basically, it was a lot of the Roman cities had these Cardos, and they were basically along the sides of the roads, bisecting the city from the north to the south. The Cardo was the main commercial avenue of Jerusalem for almost 500 years. Ancient mosaic floor, and this is the Cardo right here. You notice how far down we went too, because everything is buried on top of everything else, everything kind of, so it wasn't destroyed, it was just covered, so the archaeologists have excavated this area.
Rolled out.
Really cool.
Okay. Maps of Jerusalem and the Mother Sepulchre.
There it is there. So this is where they found it.
No. This is a replica. The original in Jordan. Main gate, Damascus Gate, and again to commemorate the business.
And along the road, this whole thing is saying along the Cardo that went from the north to south, they had, like, they were selling things basically. So it's just representing like Jerusalem in mosaic pictures. Cardo continues right here because it goes all the way to the gate. So basically the Cardo, which is represented here in this mosaic, went from the Damascus gate. So it went all the way from here to here, which is the Damascus gate, which I have not gone through yet. And the eastern Cardo leads up to the Temple Mount area. You can tell by the Temple Mount is gold. This basically was like the oldest, one of the oldest roadways, routes in history. What it would look like in a picture.
This guy here is dressed with a toga, but it's actually Technicolor. It was the mayor of Jerusalem when they did the picture, the mural, right? And the two professors from the Hebrew University that excavated, archaeologists. How many years ago?
And what the guy just blew was I think it's a shofar. It's like used in Jewish religious ceremonies, especially during, I think it's during Passover. We used to do it in the hospital. So here you basically see what I was saying earlier, how cities were built on top of cities, because this is like excavations, but you can see where there were structures that were built. So building remains the first temple period, 8th century BCE. Hasmonean city wall, 2nd to 1st century BCE. And then the level of the Cardo for the Romans. Like where the Cardo was, it was still underneath, and this is crazy. I had no idea any of this was here when I was here before. Okay, so those streets like go forever and you can just continue walking, but it's just all, they're just selling you a bunch of stuff. So I have exited. Let's see where I'm at. It looks like I'm on top of where all the shops were underneath, so it looks like it's just all covered. This is so fascinating because I had no idea this was here. I was here the other day. But I'm gonna follow this tour group because they look like they know where they're going. Yes, you can see the market in there. So everything is like below me. How cool. And there's the Temple Mount, the golden dome. The Temple Mount is in the, well, during like when the Jews had took over, there had a different, I think it was the Temple of Solomon was there, and it was destroyed to build the Temple Mount. And that inside there is the rock where they believe Muhammad died and went to heaven. So that is the holiest site for Muslims. And you can only go in the center if you're Muslim, and you can only enter the Muslim quarter, the official Muslim quarter, between 7:30 and 10:30. And you have to be completely covered. I would not be allowed in. Because back on track, this is part of the Jewish quarter as well. You see the big synagogue and the big menorah in the middle. This is the Jewish quarter. You couldn't tell. It's packed. Okay, we're gonna walk to the Western Wall and by the Church of the Sepulchre, and then I'm out because this is a lot. It's huge here. Crazy. But I'm really hungry, but I just can't. I can't sit. I have to go somewhere quiet. Okay, so this is, now we're going to see, this is a great view. You can see some more ancient Roman ruins here. You can see in the background a mosque temple and ancient Roman ruins, as well as Mount Olive in the background as well. So we're walking to, where I'm going to walk is going to be the Western Wall, which is like the holy sacred pilgrimage for Jewish people. They come here, they pray at the wall. It's divided into women and men, so you cannot pray together. Sometimes they have synagogue, they hold like bar mitzvahs there, they do everything. And if you want to go to the Muslim quarter, you can only go at certain times, but you can enter. I'll show you where you can enter if you do want to go. It's in the morning, I think for an hour in the afternoon, but you have to be completely covered.
No, this is it. This is where it starts. Okay, right here. Right here in the corner, yeah. Good photo.
So this is the Holy Temple Mound is over there, and then you see the bridge. That is where, if you want to go as a non-Muslim to go during the morning, you can go to the Muslim quarter that way. So this is the entrance to the Western Wall. They scan your bags, and you have to have like a shirt to cover your shoulders or cover your knees if you are a female. So I have my appropriate wear, and typically sometimes they ask you to cover your head, but last time they didn't ask, so we'll see. But yeah, you do get your bag scanned. The Western Wall is a remnant of the Jewish temple and the place where the divine presence rests. That's the Western Wall. So it's part of the temple that was destroyed. It's the only part that was left. Western Wall sits at the peak of Mount Moriah, which is above the Western Wall. The Western Wall is like a bottom part of it, and it was King Solomon built the first temple around it as a house for the name of the Lord, the God of Israel. The temple stood until it was destroyed by the Babylonians, and after 70 years of exile, the Jews returned to Jerusalem and built the second temple, which stood on top of the mountain until it was destroyed by the Romans. The Jewish nation was exiled for a long time, but vowed, "If I forget you, O Jerusalem, may my right hand forget its skill." Throughout all of its years in exile, the Jewish people never stopped mourning for Jerusalem, praying for next year in a rebuilt Jerusalem. As the years went by, the Western Wall, whose entire length measured 488 meters, was covered and all but disappeared from view. Only a small section remains, becoming a symbol of yearning for Zion and a place where Jewish pilgrims from all over the world gather to pray and weep. And you'll see in the Western Wall they have like you can write a prayer and put it in the wall. After the establishment of the state of Israel, the Western Wall remained under Jordanian rule for 19 years. Access to Jews was forbidden. On June 7, 1967, soldiers of Israel Defense Forces risked their lives in heavy battle. Soldiers from Jerusalem Brigade and Heron Brigade, the Air Force Jerusalem Armor Brigade, and paratroopers liberating the old city and the Temple Mount. Since then, thousands of pilgrims and visitors stream to the Western Wall daily, carrying prayers in their hearts. So basically, yeah, it's a place. So basically, it's a place for when the Jews were exiled. They prayed to come back, but the original was destroyed by what King Solomon built was destroyed, and this little section was left. But like I said, now there is the temple, the Holy Dome temple. Temple of the Mount is there and it's a Muslim sacred space. To the Muslim quarter, only certain times you can enter right here, and that is the dome with the rock Muhammad, the god who died on and went to heaven, and this is the entrance to the Western Wall. So the side on the right is for the women and the side on the left is for the men. And you can see it's crazy. It's so many people. They're having a service down there. So women are over there, men are over here.
Danny!
It is hot here. If you come here, whew, oh, it's hot. But I'm gonna go out Jaffa Gate the way, it's like, not the gate I came in, but it's right next to it. Okay, so I got away from all the crowds, but I don't know about this way. So this is the Church of Holy Sepulchre, I think I said it right. And this is where the Christians believe that the site of where Jesus was crucified, as well as where he was buried and where he rose again, is the most holy site in Christianity, Christian religion, and Christian beliefs. And it is another pilgrimage for a lot of people, as you can tell. So if you come here, you go up these stairs, that is where the site that they think the cross was for when he got crucified. And right here is where they believe they prepared his body for burial. And then on the other side is where they believe they buried him and he rose. This is where the tomb, where they believe that Jesus was buried, and where they went to look to see if he was there, and he was no longer there, so they believe he rose. So that is it. So now we are going to go out the new gate. So we went to Jaffa Gate, Zion Gate, and now New Gate to leave.
مدارس البنات والأسرة عالي
We leave the new gate. 1989, due to the need for a connection between the Christian quarter and the many Christian institutions outside of the wall. So hopefully the tour that I just did gave you lots of information. I'm working on getting more information to present and how to present it. So I'm still working on things like that. So thank you for all your suggestions, and don't forget to subscribe, and hopefully the more I do, the better the flow will be, as well as I just don't want to read from a script because I don't know, I just feel like they're so inauthentic, but I can read from where I'm standing because then at least you know that's where I found the information. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me on my mini tour of the walled city and a little bit of Jerusalem, and I will see you soon. Bye.